We're good, Brian. It looks like we have some people in here. So I'm Jeremy Burt, and CEO of VelocIT Business Solutions, and we're going to demo the VelocIT product. But I want to touch on a couple. We have a very broad scope of payment solutions that we do inside of Acumatica, and Shawn's going to demo some of the Click2Pay and talk a little bit about our deeper customizations and automations. So as you see at the bottom of the screen here, our whole thing has been integrated payments is definitely like 2012, and our whole, I guess, mantra has been we really want to get automated and to frictionless payments, and customer initiated payments is a big theme of what we're doing. And so what you have here with VelocIT is that we're using the Fiserv backend. They're, according to the Nielsen report that was just released, they're just neck and neck with Chase, I believe, is the largest processor in the U.S. That gives us access to some really great tools like Clover, which we're going to be rolling out at Summit. Hopefully, we'll be showing some Clover devices for small form factor point of sale. Profit Stars is under division of Jack Henry is what we use for the ACH, and one of the really nice things about that is it's next day funded in your credit card batch. So it's extremely fast funding, which is, we're pretty excited about that part too. So we're very agile. We're a privately held, smaller company, and most everybody that you're going to interact with on the Acumatica side is an expert in what they do. So CardPoint is the gateway, and it's really every single thing that every single transaction that comes through CardPoint is automatically validated for level 2 and level 3. So we are taking data from the software, but if there is data that's not available, we are automatically putting data points in to make sure that we get as close to 100% level 3 qualification as we can get. It's really nice from a PCI compliance standpoint because everything's secure, but it's also a simplified PCI reporting, which we help you with. We chain all your companies together. If you have multi-locations, single sign-on, you can see everything in one view. It's really a slick system. And so moving along to the sort of the product and some of the things that you're going to see today in the ecosystem, point-to-point encryption is the highest level of security that you can get in the industry. Our APIs and our terminals, everything that we use is P2PE certified, validated, and it's on the PCI Council's website. You'll find CardPoint. And the great thing is that it keeps Acumatica out of PCI scope. Now, of course, you still have to discuss how you handle cards internally, make sure that you don't take anything electronically. But when it comes down to it, and we provide you an analysis and walk through the scope of payments, we're going to provide some very detailed information to your IT staff or the people that are concerned about payments. So we have SOC 2s on file. We have the PCI AOC compliance, attestation of compliance, all those records. The other slick part about CardPoint is all your terminals are visible inside of, for chain of custody purposes, are visible from the time you order them. You have tracking, and everything's visible inside the website, which is a really slick, part of our portal is a really slick thing. You can rename, you can update, you can order these terminals and manage everything. Now, another cool thing about the ecosystem in Acumatica is we also work with other ISVs. So, on the Lockstep Collect side of things, we built in a couple enhancements to the product to post payments automatically and work within our reconciliation. Same with One Retail, they're supporting our terminals. We have AcuPause support where we can run our terminals, and these the tweaks that we've made there, which Shawn will touch on, allows us to maintain our reconciliation automation. So we've done some really cool things on the bank deposit side. But the other takeaway from this is that we can deal with any of the major shopping carts, and again, everything that we work with is next day funded and optimized, and it's definitely going to be best of breed. That's really the focus of us bringing together these platforms, is it's all best of breed stuff. So I'm going to pass it off to Shawn here. We'll let him share his screen, and he's going to take you through some of the features and some of the cool things that have been built by our team. All right, we see your screen, Shawn, but We are not hearing you at the moment.
How about now?
Yeah, now we got you.
There we go. Sorry about that. I had a little coughing fit during your spot thing and forgot to unmute. Alrighty, so what I'm going to go ahead and start with here is a new sales order. Everybody knows how this part works, but we'll go ahead and start down here.
So which piece are we demoing here, Shawn? Is this
we're gonna
capture?
We're gonna start with Click2Pay.
Okay.
With the regular sales order, you can specify the payment method you'd want to use. So if you wanted to, select a credit card here, you can. If we were going to actually, run a card present or a card not present card, you come over and create a payment like normal. In our case, we're going to just do a Click2Pay. So we're going to have this thing essentially prepaid before we start the process. So I'm going to go ahead and do here is email this sales order. And what we'll see happen here is the Click2Pay information gets filled in, including the link, but also we'll actually get an email that goes out. And here's, hopefully you guys can see that there. This is the email activity and along with the payment link. Excuse me, we'll click on that link and I'll take it to our Click2Pay demo in this case. We can see interrelated documents and what their payment statuses are. We can go ahead and pay this document if we want to. And you'll see here that we can pay by ACH or by credit card. Sorry here. Get that dollar amount in there.
The great thing about this is that if you notice the links that were available inside of Acumatica, once Shawn's done here, he can point that out. If you don't want to use the built-in email process and use this template, which we again help prepare for you guys or your consultant, all of our installation and training, there's no fees, everything's included. It's all concierge, and we're as white glove as you let us be. But that link you can actually use right from Acumatica and just paste it into your own email. So you can very quickly create a Click2Pay link and share it directly out of the ERP.
So you see here we have balance due is 0 now that we've paid it. We're going to come back into our sales order. And I'm just going to, for the sake of the demo here, I'm going to refresh this sales order. We don't see the payment yet, and that is because within our system there is a processing screen that we need to run to actually bring the payment in. Our forthcoming portal that we'll hopefully have there at Summit to demo, this process will be triggered by a webhook. So when the payment happens, they'll immediately process it. The current build, we basically have you schedule this to run every so many minutes, and it will pull in any outstanding payments at that point. So we see the payment here. I'll go ahead and process that. And now if I refresh this screen, we'll see the payments there, released, ready to go. So we can go ahead and create our shipment, go through the regular processes here, confirm, and invoice, and we will see that that payment, came through like normal, is in fact here and paid, invoice is paid, so we can release, and you're completed end to end. We have a similar process with quotes, with sales order quotes, that we'll go ahead and show next. And with the quotes, what we do essentially is allow you to say that you want this quote to be essentially prepaid before you start the order process.
We have one client that has set up alerts off of this, so the sales folks know when the doc's paid, and they go in and they start the sales order process and the payment. Not only is the obviously signaling that the quote's been accepted because it's been paid, so it's again frictionless.
Go ahead and go through the same payment process we saw before. I have a quote. Oh, it's all right. Always nice when you hit the right key.
The great thing about the new portal that's coming out too is it's condensing this. Right now, this is using a hosted payments page, and we are going to run our own hosted payments page in the new portal, and so it'll be even a quicker checkout experience. That portal, by the way, is all brandable, so it'll have your company logo. We can mask it. Same with that hosted checkout page. Everything will have your colors and design. So it's definitely going to feel like that the customer is checking out from your company's branded pages.
And process again. Okay. So we're going to come over here to payments. I'm going to refresh this. Now, although we did process this, you don't see the payment here because we can't put payments on quotes. But the process here is as soon as you convert this quote into a sales order, the payment will automatically be attached. So we're going to come into our new sales order. As soon as I hit save, that payment's attached and completed. And again, we'll go ahead and just go through the quick process this time. We could, however you go through your process in regards to creating shipments and invoicing and whatnot, everything's going to work end to end. That payment comes in as released. So even if you don't create the sales order for a few days, it will still hit the books, will still post because payment behind the scenes has actually been released. Go ahead and come to that while that's finishing. And we'll see here, it's released, closed, payment came through. And again, this is all through the Click2Pay automation. So no extra steps for you. This piece here should be scheduled, but let's say you have it scheduled to run once every 15 minutes and you don't want to wait 15 minutes, you can come in and just hit process all and have it bring in whatever is outstanding. And it will not affect negatively any other operations. Okay, so our next thing we wanted to demo was Capture for More. And that is something we've added in here to where if you've done a pre-authorization workflow and you didn't estimate the shipping correctly and now you need more money than what the pre-auth was for, this will allow you to capture that payment for the full amount without having to capture it and then do a separate charge for the residual. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and come over here and pre-stage my credit card. And we're going to create a payment. We'll do our authorization. And we'll see here that authorization's for $510, $500 for the laptop, $10 for shipping. So go ahead and quick process this. Come into our invoice, we'll see that we have an authorization here. And you know what, I did my demo a little wrong here, but that's okay. We'll go back and fix it. So in our go back to our sales order here. And we're going to correct our shipment. And well, how about this? We'll do a new sales order. We'll do it right this time.
Forgot to add your extra line items.
Well, I forgot to tweak the shipping.
Gotcha.
Always nice when you can prove how special you are.
and for that matter, I mean, while you're setting that up, that shipping is one element. Sometimes, you know, people more commonly probably just, hey, I needed to add another item to the order. You can add another line item, for example, but the point is that if you capture for the 500, or excuse me, pre-auth for the 500, you can capture for more in our system, which will obviously be.
Oh, here we go. So I just changed that shipping from $10 to $25. So now our application shows that we have $15 that's unpaid, but we have our auto capture for more turned on. So when I capture this, you will see that our unpaid balance will go to 0 and our total paid will go to $525, as will our pre-authorized payment. And then it's going to capture for the remainder, release the transaction. We've had one payment come in. We don't, and if we come into our actual payments and look here, you will see that, you know, we authorized for 510 and we captured for 525. It lets us capture for more. Obvious caveats is if you're dealing with a debit card and they don't have the extra 15 bucks, it will decline. We find most of our customers that are doing this kind of thing are dealing with a lot of business to business, to where that's not that big of a deal. But I'd like to throw that out there. It's, you know, can't get blood from a stone. So that piece that's how that piece works there. If on that particular order you didn't want to capture for more, you wanted to capture for the amount, you can just uncheck that before you hit capture. It will capture for the original amount. And then you can do your catch up however, you know, your workflow seems or deems fit. So I think the last piece we were trying to show today was our deposits. And I'll be honest with you, this one's a little bit difficult to demo because we have to have actual data out there and we're playing in a sandbox here. But what we do with our bank deposit is that when you are running your deposit to move your credit cards into your lump sum into your checking account, we allow you to choose your processing center, and whatever day you choose, which in this case we're going to do yesterday, when we hit load transactions, it will go out to the gateway, grab all the transactions. I did that backwards. There we go. And it will pull any charges that are coming through and record them accordingly. They will, any payments that come in, it will try to link them to transactions you have in your system. And for some reason it can't, it will give you the exception so you know what you need to deal with. So in this case, these are, dummy transactions, so they're not actually in my system. But if we were on a production system and you were to see this, typically what happens is all of your transactions fill in here automatically, so you don't have to do the manual add payment and find it. And the anything that can't find comes to exceptions, which again, in most cases is blank. But you're then only focusing on the one or two transactions you have to deal with rather than everything for the day. If you're not dealing with a credit card deposit, if you don't fill in the processing center, then it fills just like a regular bank deposit does with no load transaction. Everything's automated. The charge tab is filled in based on settings in your processing center. So you can get as granular as you like. If everything will go to the default, and then you can come down and say, you know, I'd really like my equipment fees to go to a different GL. And that would, you know, based on entry ID, will allow you to move those around. So you can break it out however you like and have it be automatically broken out, where you're not having to get your statement and move it around yourself and, you know, reallocate that way.
This is really attractive for people who have multiple locations, multiple merchant accounts, and counter sale. We've got some clients that have 14, 18 locations, you know, several terminals at the locations. So there's lots and lots of transactions. So you can imagine the reconciliation allows them to immediately drill down on any transaction that is out of scope as far as ran through a virtual terminal, not in Acumatica, or should they have duplicated it for one reason or another. It just basically allows you to focus on what needs attention. With that point, Shawn, since we have a couple minutes here, do you want to run a card present test transaction and just kind of illustrate that process? And you guys can actually, I don't know how well I can do this, but we can actually see these terminals. What's great too is that they're brandable. So we can put your logo on the terminals. So again, just a little nicer checkout experience for your customer. But what Shawn's going to do is go ahead and target this terminal with a transaction, and you can do this again natively, like he's doing. Everywhere that we have payments, you can do card present. We can do it in AcuPOS. We can do this with One Retail. So,
and card present can authorize and capture. So, you know, in this case, we'll do a capture with the full sale. But if your workflow if it's appropriate for your workflow, you could do an authorization on the card present, and you'll still get the you know, the benefits, even though you're going to capture it later, you know, quote unquote, not card present. So it gives you, you know, all the bells and whistles either way. So what will happen here is they'll start spinning. His terminal should light up here in just a moment and say,
yep,
to put the card in, which it just did.
230. Okay, we'll go ahead and accept that. And confirm amount, hit the green button, please wait. This is configurable. Shawn can show you and then remove card. We've all used a credit card terminal, so we kind of debated on whether or not we would want to do anything there. And then, oh, you prompt me for zip. Interesting.
Oh, that was AVS. I was messing with stuff, sorry.
No, well, I mean, you can do whatever through these. I put that in. It should be back in your system now. But again, I think as consumers, we all know what to expect. I think it's just great to see that it works.
Because we did the full capture, it did come through as released. So again, this is a fully completed one, so we could go ahead and do the quick process all the way through. And we'll go ahead and show you here. This is the processing center setup where we have our card present terminals. They come in with their serial numbers, and then you can call them whatever you want. You know, you just come in and edit that, and then that adjusts that drop down accordingly. The terminal options determine how they behave. So he was prompted to confirm the amount, and then he had to put in his zip code. He had to do the address verification. If we turned that off and turned on beep, for example, this one would just ask him to put the card in and beeped at him until he did, and then beep at him when it's time to pull out until he pulled out the card. We can, you know, when we do your install with you, we'll go over all these settings and what each one individually does and why you would or would not want to use it. But we've got full configuration of the terminals, full configuration of your reconciliation process. We do offer a receipt, which you can put in your header information to show on the receipt, and that receipt's just an Acumatica report, so you can customize that however you like.
I want to touch on one thing. We don't have enough time to go into the weeds on everything because it's grown the project, and what we do is through requests to the partners. I do want to make sure before we open up for questions, we do payments in the customer portal, the B2B customer portal. We do customizations in all of these different spaces as well. We collaborate with your ISVs, your third parties. As everybody knows, as complex as this system and this ecosystem is, eventually there's going to be things where you bump heads. And I think the one thing that's great about VelocIT and Shawn and the team that he's leading is that we get to the bottom of it. We work with the consultants. We're super responsive. We're available. And I think that's where what most of them are really enjoying is that we give them the same flexibility that Acumatica has throughout the payments ecosystem. And that's a really important piece. So with that, I think we should probably jump into some questions before we completely run out of time. Brian, do we have anything?
You need to click on the Q&A.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions yet.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. I wasn't looking for that, so well, good. The one thing too that I want to touch on, I guess, while we have just a minute on the
someone requested to see the customer portal piece.
Oh, Shawn, do you have that?
If I can get that up and running right now.
I guess I didn't prepare you for that part of it. I didn't think we would have time, quite frankly.
Well, depending on how fast the instance spins up, we may not, but. For what it's worth, while this is loading, the customer portal essentially embeds the Click2Pay. So what will happen there is that we put a, we generate the payment link, and then it's embedded in the portal to where it looks like it's part of the portal. We'll come in here and get this going, hopefully.
And Shawn, I don't know if Bruce wanted the B2B customer portal or if he actually wanted to see our new portal, which I don't know that you have access to that on the fly at this very moment, but nonetheless, I think the B2B portal is probably just as appropriate for the time we have. Yep, he did say Acumatica portal, so you're on the right track here.
Great.
Thanks, Bruce.
Hopefully this will behave. I updated my dev site here a little bit ago and hadn't updated the portal yet, so I think we'll probably be okay.
Well, and if it doesn't, Bruce or anybody else that's curious about it can reach out and we can actually do some cleanup and get them a demo. That's always first time back in. If you haven't been playing in there for a little bit, it's always a little slower. I think everybody's aware of that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, is this one not ready? So let's just copy it. We'll create a new order, make sure we got one that'll work.
We do go into a break, so if you run an extra minute over, it's probably not the end of the world, but generally I would tell you, be counting you down right now.
Okay.
Out of respect for the following people, but if they want to jump out for break, they can jump out for break.
We're gonna go ahead and submit and pay. This should create the order and then bring up the payment, essentially the Click2Pay screen to make the payment. And then this, just like I said, is embedded within the portal, so we can go ahead and make the payment. Oops, hit the wrong button.
The places you see VelocIT on those are actually just placeholders for your logos. Your logos will be on these pages.
Seriously.
Open invoices on account, Shawn. Are you? We did some of that for camp, didn't we? Make some
Yeah,
other stuff available.
We're working on an enhancement for another company that will probably end up being made public before too long, that will allow us to do payments with native Acumatica saved cards within the My Document screen. So you could essentially go into the document screen, select which invoices you want to pay and how much you want to pay, and then do a payment, a single payment against multiple invoices, or potentially multiple invoices. Currently, right now, this Click2Pay piece only works within the sales orders themselves. So we come back into here. You'll see we can't pay it again because it's already been paid. If we come back into the regular ERP side and I sign in, we go to our thing here and wait patiently. In a second here, we'll see that sales order payment that we had just done. So that was $61.40. Always nice when it's not as fast as you want it to be for your demo. But here's $61.40 and it's not synchronized. We can go ahead and process that. That'll bring it onto the system and show it as paid then. And your processes come in that, so that payment came in essentially through the portal. So that's that workflow. If you were interested in seeing the AR side of it, we can do an individual demo. Just let us know, and I can bring that up and show you how that side works for doing payments within the portal natively versus with Click2Pay.
Perfect.
I think that's all I got.
Yeah, you stop by the booth. Let us know if you guys would like a demo, and we'll get you guys taken care of. And again, ideas. Most of what you see here outside of the native processing has been, I think starting in Houston, Shawn sat down and somebody said it should be nice if we could email a payment out, and he went back up and wrote a program that night and handed it to one of the guys and said, yeah, sure, we can do that. And it's kind of been, really advancing from then. So most of our enhancements to the product are really been driven by the partners and the customers. So with that, thank you guys. We went a little long, and Brian, I absolutely would not have done that if we weren't up against a break. So thanks for letting us stick on here a little bit.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Take care.